today, it's for guys like Noah Wilson. It's for guys like Brandon Beal. It's for people like Mercedes. It's for people like me, right? Everybody says, man, I heard you talking to me on the Monday Message. It's like, brother, I was talking to me. You just got to listen in. When I think about people winning and having a massive second half of the year, that's what made me want to create this content. That's what made me want to talk about this. Because here's the thing. We've all done it. All right. We've all done it. It's okay. Confession is good for the soul, right? We've all done it. We have all gotten crazy fired up, gotten excited at an event, going to do massive things, going to pass people, going to build it, going to get after it, going to do all those things. And then we fall short. And it doesn't happen. Here's the problem. Here's why I want the changes to stick and the changes to be lasting. Here's why. I don't want you to stack up any more disappointments. Right? When we get all excited about something, I'm thinking about Julian Wright too. I know they've made massive decisions and changes coming out. See, we all can get this done. Here's what I don't want. I don't want anybody to stack up another disappointment. See, because here's what happens. We get excited, we get committed, and then we don't make the changes stick. And it just stacks up disappointment. When you see folks that are up in years and they've stopped dreaming, stop stretching, it's because they've stacked up so many disappointments. They don't think massive change is possible anymore. Now, here's what's crazy. Massive change is possible at any time for anyone, but it's got to be lasting change that makes it happen, lasting positive change that makes it happen. I was thinking about this. When we look at these these 4 things, it's not a matter of, am I doing it? It's a matter of how dialed in am I on that? Because there's plenty of room to think on all these. And so take these 4 things and just chew on them the rest of the day. Text me feedback, be like, hey, I figured out some stuff. What you talked about there helped. And now I'm doing this. I'm going to do that. Just keep that feedback coming. Because I want the changes you and I make coming out of Family Reunion to stick so that this second half of the year is insanely massive. That's what I want for every single one of us. So let's look at the basics. All right, number 1, this is the most important. We've got to confront reality. Real change can't come from anything other than base reality. That's the reason a lot of people don't make their changes stick, by the way, is they haven't confronted reality. You got to confront the reality of where you're at. I posted on our AM and above chat for the team. I posted the personal production leaderboards year to date for the Alliance. And this was part of, as I'm coming out of conference, me confronting reality, going, I've got to make positive changes stick so that we become the most dominant hierarchy in all of the Alliance. And I was looking at the top 25 year to date. That's something we used to own as a team. Top 25 personal producers, we used to own that as a team. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, my current reality is that we gave up ownership of it. Hey, who am I blaming? Me, right? That's when there's an issue, leaders look in the mirror. When there's credit to be given, they look out the window, right? So I'm looking at that and I'm going, we got to get that back. We got to take ownership of that back, right? That's confronting reality. And so where am I currently at? Where are you currently at? We've got to confront that reality so that we can make real changes. It's the only platform we can build from. What keeps us from changing reality? Well, there's 5 things that keep us from confronting reality. Number 1 is fear of failure. Now here's the truth about fear of failure. If you confront reality and you realize that you failed in some areas, that's okay. That's okay. But we'll let fear of failure or fear of looking like a failure keep us from confronting the reality of it, right? We'll let that fear, like, God, it will look like a failure if I think like, and we push it away. We push reality away. That's the number 1 thing that keeps us from confronting reality, fear of failure, fear of looking at the real results and going, what did I do or not get? What did I do or do not get done? What happened? But we've got to get to that base. Here's another one, and it's closely related. Living in denial keeps us from confronting reality. I want to have this certain image of myself so I can't confront reality because the 2 don't compute right now. Let me tell you something. The appearance of success is nothing. Actual success, that's worth going for in any area of life, right? the appearance of success versus actual success. Again, if we're living in denial and we're trying to keep just an appearance instead of getting to reality so we can confront reality and go, what's the actual? We're not going to make any real progress. Here's another one, short-term thinking. Short-term thinking keeps us from confronting reality. Here's another one, busyness. Busyness can keep us from confronting reality. I'm going to talk a little bit about our routines in point number 3 when I get into that. But just the busyness keeps us from confronting, taking time and go, wait, where am I really at? And what do I need to do to get out of here to where I want to go? And number 5 thing that we do to keep us from confronting reality is explain down the success of others. Right? Like if we look at it as a team and we look at, hey, we've got nobody in the top 20 right now and only 3 in the top 25, which is me, Burge, and Hutch. If we look at that and we go, yeah, but see, the thing about that person is they've got this advantage no one else has. The thing about that person, we explain down the success of others. That keeps us from confronting reality. So if any one of those 5 is holding you back or holding me back, we can't make real progress till we let go of that and confront reality. How do we confront reality? Some basic questions. Where am I at? Where am I at in the important stuff? Where am I at in the important stuff, the stuff that matters? Where am I actually at? You can't get to where you want to go if you don't know where you are. I can't get to where I want to go if I don't know where I am. So where am I at? Here's a second question. Why am I here? I'll tell you straight up, I'm not happy where I'm at. I'm not happy where I'm at. We should be the #1 hierarchy in the Alliance. Why? We've got the best dadgum people. We've got the most talented people. You've seen our people train at big events. We've got all the talent in the world. So I'm looking at them going, where am I at? Why am I here? Then it gets into the next question. What have I been explaining or excusing away? What changes do I need to implement? What have I slacked on? Hey, I'll give you #1 thing I've slacked on. I slacked on reading there for a little bit. Dadgummit. It's like anything, right? It's like anything, right? By the way, modeling transparency for your team is that's a big part of helping lead your team, right? If we're stuck on the image of being perfect and not having any faults, we can't impact anybody. Perfect people can't have an impact. Imperfect people can have an impact. So what have I slacked on? What changes do I need to implement? Just taking those questions and really confronting reality. Here's the other tip I'll give you on confronting reality. Get fresh eyes on it, right? You ever have this happen? I know it's happened to me. I'll turn in an application that I know with every fiber of my being has been perfectly executed. I know this. I know this for a fact. I've been doing this 24 years. I know that application is perfect in every way because I've looked at it. And then guess what happens? Someone with fresh eyes looks at it and goes, hey, you missed this box, dummy. I'm like, how did I miss that? But I looked at it. I looked at it. You ever been there? Right? Hey, well, it's the value of fresh eyes. See, we tend to see things through the same lens so long that we don't see everything there is to see. It's kind of like glasses, right? Those of y'all that got glasses, you ever or we've all witnessed this, right? You're talking to someone, you're just looking at their glasses, you're going, how do they not know their glasses are so dirty? What is going on there? How did I see that? Right? Well, here's why. Because they've been looking at them. They've been looking through those dirty glasses. So they don't think their glasses are dirty. That's why fresh eyes is so important. That's why getting coaching is so important. That's why I'm so proud of those of you that have been saying, hey, here's the changes I've got to make coming out of family reunion. I love that stuff because that's someone trying to get some fresh eyes on the situation. We will only see what we've been seeing typically. And as imperfect human beings, we struggle with objectivity. We really do. You go back to those 5 questions, right? Or we go back to the 5 things that keep us from confronting reality. Hey, nothing like having some fresh eyes on the situation, getting coaching on it from someone that is further along in the journey. We all need others to get absolute clarity on our reality. We all need that. I need it. You need it. We all need others to get absolute clarity on our reality. That's why the numbers, being posting the numbers. That's why it's so important. Hey, tuning into the bigger team. When people keep their team to themselves and it's just their little team, well, it's not hard to be a top producer on a tiny team. But when you see the bigger team, that's why I posted the top 25 year to date on the AM and above chat. If you're on one of their teams, get them to send it to you. Let's see where the top 10 people are in the alliance. When you see the bigger team, it's going to help you get a better perspective. So fresh eyes on the situation, get coaching, get around the bigger team. That will help you get closer to confronting the actual reality. But that's where you and I've got to be. We've got to confront reality if we're going to make real changes stick. Because any changes that we attempt to make without confronting reality will be shoddy ground. It'll be unstable ground. It'll be a bad foundation. It won't work. It won't last. And we'll come into national convention going, didn't make the moves I wanted to make. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for anybody under my care. That's why I'm hammering confront reality. Number one, you've got to confront reality in order to make real changes stick. Now, once we confront reality, that's where we get to number two. We've got to create capacity and margin for change. If we don't create capacity and margin for change, there is no room for the change to stick. We talk about Parkinson's law a lot, or at least I do. Parkinson's law is terrifying to me. Why? Because Parkinson's law will slowly steal your life. Here's what Parkinson's law says. The thing will grow to fill the void in which it sits. Meaning, if you're a full-time producer, if you're full-time with us and you have a tiny GMR, tiny lead flow, you're going to take all week to call that little amount of leads and only get a few appointments that are going to take you all week to run. And if you do that too many weeks in a row, guess what? You're going to think that's all the production that can get done. But then you look at the top 10 people in the country with the alliance, you go, holy cow, what the heck? I loved Eric Belair's talk at National Convention, the part where he said, he put his numbers up there. He put his money where his mouth is. I invest $1,500 a week in leads. Do you remember seeing that number? He netted after leads $250,000 in deposits year to date. I love it when people put the numbers up there. That is someone that is not in denial, not afraid of confronting reality. Investing $1,500 in a week in leads, people go, that's crazy. Yeah, you know what else is crazy? Clearing $250,000 the first half of the year. Clearing after all that leads cost, right? So capacity, that's why I say, if someone's only working a small amount of leads and done that for a long time, they go, I don't know how you can ever work $1,500 worth of leads in a week. Well, you can. Eric Belair's doing it. Does that make sense? Parkinson's law terrifies me because it steals our life little bits at a time. Incremental degradation is how we end up terribly inefficient. But we have to create margins and create capacity for change. How do we do that? Eliminate low and no value activity. Eliminate low and no value activity. You and I both have low and no value activities in our calendar that we've got to drop. Why? Because that will create the capacity. We can't stretch 168 hours out to 184 or 210. Be awesome if we could, but we can't. We only got the 168 to work with, so we've got to create capacity somewhere within there. That's why we've got to eliminate low and no productive activities. They are stealing your life, stealing your potential. They're just stealing it. We got to eliminate them. Then we got to delegate. If you want to have a massive team and you don't have support staff, you will never get there. You will never get there. Well, I just do it all myself. It doesn't take me but a minute. Yeah, I'm telling you, you will never get there without solid support staff. My support staff is what frees me up. My support staff gives me capacity. The slides at convention, right? I didn't do those slides. Does that make sense? What are you doing that you can delegate, that you can hire, that you can get help, that you can get quality help? I'm telling you that what in your calendar, because if you don't have quality support staff, you will never go partner. You will never go board member. You've got to have quality support staff. Why? because you're not enough, just like I'm not enough. I can't even do half the things some of my staff does. If you wanted to see the slides I would make, I would have been drawing on the thing the whole time. I'm just telling you. What can you hire out? Because that's going to create capacity. Well, it doesn't take me a minute, but to do the lead order, it doesn't take me but a minute. Doesn't take but a minute. That's capacity. That's capacity. Here's the next thing. When you want to create capacity, and I had a great conversation with Beal about this, right? Identify where you're deserved. What does Marcus say? Don't work where you're needed, work where you're deserved. Identify where that is. Who's truly ready, willing, and able. If they're not ready, willing, and able, you can't make massive change there. You can love on them all you want. You can sit on them like a mother hen. If they're not ready, willing, and able, they're not going to be able to help you get to the next level. They're not going to be able to get to the next level if they're not ready, willing, and able. The problem sometimes is we see through the eyes of who we like. We work with who we like versus where am I deserved. That when Marcus first said that, the first time I heard him say that, I was like, that is one of the best questions I've ever heard on deciding where you're going to work. Work where you're deserved, not where you're needed. So where is that? Where is that? And again, how can you get good at this? Get fresh eyes on the situation. Get fresh eyes on the situation. All right, next thing. What parts of my routine are not aligned with where I want to go? What parts of my routine are not aligned with where I want to go? There's a ton of capacity to be had there. Here's the problem with routine. We do it without thinking. So without thinking, you and I are spending life on things. Spending life, not time. I say spending life. I'm in a new intensely crazy mode. We spend life on things that aren't getting us any closer to where we want to be in the important things in life because of our routine. Because routines are done without thinking. So what parts of my routine is not aligned with where I want to go? Here's the problem. You, me, we're in the same spot. We're in the same situation. Our routine of today is the enemy of our better tomorrow. Our routine today is the enemy of our better tomorrow. So if we don't put down the enemy, we'll never get to the better tomorrow. So what parts of my routine are not aligned with where I want to go? By the way, when you start doing that, you'll start seeing things like, why am I doing this? I could build a quality staff and have that done so I can do more selling and more recruiting. All right. Next thing, where am I creating confusion? Confusion eats up capacity. Think about the messages that Marcus Setta and Andy were carrying at convention. What were they talking about? Being on all the calls. Right? Being on the TWC, being on the product call, being on the activity call. What are they talking about? GMRs, right? The GMR, I'm telling you, if you just look at the GMR that your current team has, increasing that is how you increase production. It's very, very, very predictable. Well, I don't like this part about that GMR. I don't like, hey, you know what? Nothing's perfect, bro. Let's go. It is very predictable. Been doing this 22 years. It is very predictable. Whoever increases the GMRs on the team the most is going to be the biggest person. It's very, very, very predictable. Where can I set a better example? I mean, all of these things if we create confusion, we eat up capacity. And you say, well, it doesn't affect, it does. If we carry a different message than the top people carry, it creates confusion. Confusion eats up capacity. Here's another thing, recruiting. If you're not recruiting every single week, your capacity is not growing. If you're not recruiting every single week, your capacity is not growing. That might be part of confronting reality. And number one, right? Well, still only at this level. Well, confronting reality goes, but in the last 6 months, I ain't recruited but 3 people. That's got to change, right? Recruiting increases your capacity. What other capacities can you increase besides the time capacity? Your emotional capacity, right? We lose capacity when we lose control of our emotions, when we get all ticked off, all upset over stuff. Let me tell you something. The space between stimulus and response can be increased long enough to help you and I make more emotionally level decisions, not get so mad, not get so frustrated, not get so down. Where can I increase my energy capacity, my relational capacity? The point is this: once we've confronted reality, now we need some capacity to work with. We need some capacity and some margin to work with. Otherwise, we can't make positive changes stick. Number 3, fuel your curiosity. This is what will get you to put new things into that capacity. Because if we don't put new things into that capacity we create, guess what will happen? Parkinson's law will eat you alive. We'll just start expanding what we're already doing. What we're already doing in this much time, we'll expand into this much time because we created capacity, but we didn't put any new things in there. That's where curiosity is so important. So just some things to think about. Have you run a hotspot meeting and a training? Well, no. Why not? Why not you? What products aren't you writing? Adam Burrs, number one issued paid year-to-date IUL producer on the team, did a fantastic training 2 weeks ago. Jump on the YouTube page, watch that training. There's gold in there to help you write more IULs. Are you writing annuities? I'm talking with Chris Norris at 3:30 today to arrange the same call for our team that he's been doing for Brandon Manley's team that has their annuity production going through the roof. So have you written an annuity yet? How many annuities are you writing? Are you writing the critical illness products that we have, the hospital indemnity? Are you adding those back on top of your life sales? Where in the product mix that the top 10 people are doing, where am I dropping the ball? Get curious. Does that make sense? Have you ever recruited out of town and gone to a meeting to get your new recruits there? We got Houston and Denver. We got those 2 big meetings coming up. Do you have anybody in Houston? Get somebody in Houston between now and then and come to Houston with your new recruit. Get somebody in Denver. Go to Denver with your new recruit. Put yourself in the uncomfortable and unfamiliar. And here's the cool thing. Watch the thoughts and the reoccurrence of thoughts that you have when you're in the unfamiliar and uncomfortable. And that would be traveling, going to where your people are. Have you taken new producers on appointments with you? Have you taken them in the field with you on appointments? Well, in other words, the question is this: what haven't I done that the top people are doing? Let me put that in the capacity and the margin that I just created. Here's what I know. There are 0 reasons for you or me to not be the top people in the alliance. There are 0 reasons for us to not be great at all the things that the top people are great at. There are 0 reasons for it. You got all the capacity in the world. You got all the talent in the world. You got all the ability, and it's in you. It's in me. We just got to get it out. There's no reason for it to not be used and put to use and use that potential, right? But we've got to create the capacity, right? Confront reality, create the capacity, get curious. What am I dropping? What are these things am I not doing? Put it into that capacity we created. How about reading? Are you reading 15 minutes every single day? I am committed every single day the rest of the year. I don't care if I've got 105-degree fever. I don't care I don't care what happens. I will read 15 minutes every single day the rest of the year. That's a great way to fuel your curiosity for what to fill in that capacity. Who's coaching me? What coaching am I getting? What did I learn today? If we didn't learn something today, then we have only engaged in addition and maybe even subtraction. When we learn something every day, we are engaging in multiplication. All right, last point, number 4, be the change agent. Be the change agent. You're the change agent. I'm the change agent. Me and you, we're going to be the change agents in the alliance. Me and you are the change agents that are going to take the team to the #1 hierarchy in the whole alliance. Me and you are the change agents that are going to get you to board member and get you to partner. Me and you, we're the change agents. What does that mean? Everybody operates on a spectrum. On the spectrum from my actions don't impact outcomes to my actions absolutely impact outcomes. We're all on a spectrum somewhere. Where do you think most people in the world are? Most people in the world are down on this side near my actions don't impact outcomes, right? They think they're helpless. There's just, it doesn't matter what I do. Nothing ever changed. Me and you, we got to get down here. My actions absolutely impact outcomes. I impact outcomes. You impact outcomes. We impact outcomes. We are the change agents. So where am I at right now on that spectrum? I've got to get here. I've got to get here. Here's what it is. We apply our full force, our full energy into the positive changes. That's why we've got to be here, because if we're in the middle or down here, we're not going to put our full energy into those changes because we don't think it'll actually work, or we think it may not work, or we think it's out of my control. And you know, the people that are up there, we're not going to put our full energy into the changes. We're only going to give it a half-hearted effort, and then guess what? It won't work, and then we'll just stack up another disappointment on top of the other ones and go, see, it's really not meant to be. See, I don't want that for you. Me and you got to stay up here so we give our full energy to the changes, to the positive changes we're going to make. Here's what it is. It's commitment to a growth mindset and learning. Growth mindset. We impact outcomes. You and I impact outcomes. Here's the other thing I'll tell you. Don't prolong the struggle. There's zero reason for you to be years into a struggle. Let's go. There are examples. There are patterns. It's not complicated, but we'll prolong the struggle by not A, confronting reality, B, finding capacity. You see what I'm saying? So the top thing, we prolong the struggle. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. Look how fast Adam Burge came on the scene. Look how fast Aaron Wilson came onto the scene. Look how fast people are moving up the levels. So don't prolong the struggle. Get to this side of the spectrum so that we put our full energy and force into positive change. I was coaching one of you guys this past weekend, and I said, hey, you have got to coach people to win, not just coach people to not lose. Coach people to win. Get aggressive. Why? Because you're the change agent and I'm the change agent. So we can coach people aggressively. We can coach them to win and not just try and coach them to not lose. Let me tell you something. No outside source is worth blaming. Why? Because when we blame an outside source for our results, it's that fault, it's their fault, it's this fault. That person's only winning because of this or that. And if we do that, here, think of what you give away by doing that. We give away our autonomy and our freedom to move. When we blame an outside source for anything in life that we're not where we want to be, we give away our autonomy and our freedom. We might as well just tie ourselves up and say, well, you know, outside source, can't do anything about it. And no outside source is worth that. No outside source is worth that. You and me, we're the change agents. Our actions impact outcomes. Guys, we've got so many meetings coming up. We've got the Houston and Denver thing. I'm going to work that out and get Dallas somewhere in there. I know we've got other places to go. Tell me where I can go to help you guys. We will go to 1 million, then to 2 million as we pass those mile markers on becoming the #1 hierarchy in the Alliance. I want you to have the best second half of the year you have ever had in the history of you. Guys, I'm telling you, these 4 things, it's all inside of me right now, and this is what I'm doing. Come with me. Let's get out. Let's make it happen. Guys, Holly and I love you. We want you to win more than you can possibly imagine. Let's get it.